An electric car doesn't strand you because you drove it wrong. It strands you because it was sold to you before it was finished. For a few years now, you've been told the electric car is the future. Cleaner, smarter, simpler, fewer moving parts, so less to break. Then the people who actually bought them started filling out the surveys. Consumer Reports went through the owner reports on roughly 380,000 vehicles. And they came back with a number the car companies would rather you scrolled right past. On average, electric cars and plug-in hybrids are racking up around 80% more problems than a plain gas car. 7 of the 10 least reliable vehicles on the entire list are electric or plug-in. Now I'll be square with you, because you'd catch me if I wasn't. It isn't every electric car. Consumer Reports still calls the Tesla Model Y the most reliable EV you can buy, and a handful of others hold up just fine. This was never about the technology being evil. It's about a few automakers shoving half-tested cars onto the lot at $40,000, $60,000, $80,000 and letting the buyer be the test fleet for the software. I've watched these come into the bay on a flatbed, not smoking, not crashed, just dead. A dash full of warning lights, and a car that won't roll. We're going to count down 9 of the ones Consumer Reports is flagging the hardest, from the ones that'll only wear on your patience to the one at the very top. And that one at number 1 isn't some startup's half-baked experiment. It isn't the cheapest badge on the lot either. It's a luxury electric SUV from a company that's been building cars for over 100 years, one that can quietly shut off its own power and leave you sitting on the shoulder. Knowing these 9 could save you from the exact mistake this crowd dreads most. The one that shoves you into a car payment you never planned to make again. Let's get into it. Number 9, Audi Q6 e-tron. We start with a car that looks like the safe choice. It's an Audi, premium badge, sharp interior, over 300 miles of range, and acceleration that'll pin you to the seat. On paper, it's everything a luxury EV should be. In the owner data, it's one of the reasons this list exists. The trouble isn't the range or the speed. It's the brain of the car, the infotainment, and the electronics that owners have been complaining about since the version before this one. And that's the tell for the whole list. When the problems are electronic, they don't announce themselves with a puddle under the car. They show up as a screen that freezes, a system that won't wake up, a feature you paid for that just stops. When one of those control units gives out on a luxury EV that's out of warranty, you're not looking at a cheap fix. $900 to $2,200 is a normal ticket, and that's before anyone figures out which module is actually the culprit. On the newest, most expensive Audi you can buy, number 8, Lucid Air. Here's a name a lot of people watching this won't know, and that's exactly the point. The Lucid Air is a luxury electric sedan from a young company, and by the numbers, it's genuinely impressive. Enormous range, serious performance, a price tag to match. It's also plagued by the 2 things you least want in a car you're depending on: hardware faults and software problems. So let me put a hard question to you before you're ever tempted by one of these on a used lot at half price. When a company is brand new and it builds a complicated electric car and that car breaks, who fixes it? Where's the shop? Where do the parts come from? What happens if the company itself is struggling by the time yours needs help? A cheap price on an orphaned car isn't a deal, it's a trap with a bow on it. This audience already knows that in its bones. Number 7, Tesla Cybertruck. Now, I told you a minute ago that Tesla makes the most reliable EV on the market. That's true. The Model Y and the Model 3 have climbed the rankings because Tesla has been building the same cars long enough to work the bugs out, which makes this one stand out even more. The Cybertruck is the exception in Tesla's own lineup. It's the one model the company rates below average for reliability, while the rest of the family sits near the top. That contrast tells you something important, and it's the through line of this entire countdown. It is almost never the mature, boring, been-around-forever design that fails. It's the brand new, radically different, never-been-done-before machine. The Cybertruck is as new and as different as it gets, and it's paying for that with the exact reliability penalty you'd expect. Same company, wildly different result. The new toy is the one that bites. Number 6, Rivian R1S. The Rivian R1S is one of the most loved vehicles in this whole survey, and one of the least reliable. Sit with that, because it's a strange and telling combination. When Consumer Reports asks owners whether they'd buy their Rivian again, the answer comes back overwhelmingly yes. People adore these things. But when the same survey asks what's gone wrong, Rivian lands at the bottom of the reliability rankings. What you're seeing is a pattern this channel has watched for years. A vehicle can be exciting and impressive and still spend far too much time getting fixed. Enthusiasm doesn't tow you home. And the folks who buy a big electric SUV like this to be the family's do-everything vehicle are finding out the difference between loving a car and being able to count on it. Drive unit and electrical repairs on one of these, once you're past the warranty, can run anywhere from $3,000 to $6,500 a visit. And on this one, there tends to be more than one visit, which is where the list stops being about luxury toys and starts being about a problem baked into cars a lot more people actually bought. Number 5. Hyundai Ioniq 5. The Ioniq 5 is one of the easiest electric cars to like. The styling turns heads, the interior is roomy, and it charges faster than almost anything near its price. So this isn't me telling you it's a bad car to drive. It's me telling you about one specific part buried inside it. There's a component on these called the Integrated Charging Control Unit. Its job is to keep the small 12-volt battery topped up, the same little battery that wakes the whole car up and keeps it running. When that unit fails, the 12-volt battery loses its charge source, and the car can lose power, refuse to start, or shut down while you're driving it. Hyundai has issued recalls to deal with this, but if yours slips through the cracks, or you're the second or third owner who never got the notice, that's a car that can leave you stranded through no fault of your own. Outside of a recall or a warranty, that repair runs well over $1,000, plus the tow every single time it happens. Remember that part because you're about to see it again. Number 4. Kia EV6. Here's where it gets interesting, because the Kia EV6 is built on the same underlying platform as that Hyundai, which means it carries the same weakness in the same charging control unit. The frustrating thing is that the EV6 is a genuinely good car to drive. Consumer Reports gave it a strong road test score. The people who test these for a living came away impressed. But a reviewer has a car for a week. You have it for 10 years. And over those years, the reliability projections turn ugly, mostly around the powertrain. There was a recall covering the 2022 through 2024 models for exactly that charging unit failing, with the risk of losing power to the motor and being left on the side of the road. That's 2 different brands now, with 2 different badges, quietly sharing the same broken part. That's not a coincidence. That's a platform that got rushed. Before we get to the last 3, do the one thing that keeps a channel like this alive. Tap subscribe so the stuff the showroom won't tell you keeps showing up in your feed. That's the whole deal here, and it's free. Now number 3, Genesis G60. Genesis is the luxury arm of Hyundai. Nicer materials, a higher price, a fancier showroom. And underneath all of it, the GV60 rides on that same electric platform with that same charging control unit that's been causing trouble for its cheaper cousins. There was even a recall tied to the software that runs it. So now it's 3 brands, Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis. One shared part, the same failure wearing 3 different price tags. Consumer Reports handed the GV60 of the worst predicted reliability scores of any electric vehicle for 2026 and pulled its recommendation entirely. And here's the quiet cost nobody warns you about with a car like this. When a vehicle earns a reputation this bad, its resale value falls off a cliff. The market knows, so you don't just pay to fix it, you eat the loss when it's time to sell, on a car you paid luxury money for. That's bad, but it's not the worst on this list, because the last 2 share a different platform, from a different automaker. And the failure on those 2 isn't just inconvenient. It's the one I promised you at the very start. Number 2, Chevrolet Blazer EV. General Motors built its own electric foundation, a battery and motor system it calls Ultium, and it put that system under a whole family of cars. The Chevrolet Blazer EV is one of the first places it showed up, and it has struggled from the start. The pattern owners keep reporting is the same handful of things over and over: software that freezes or goes blank, climate systems that can't seem to get it right, and most alarming, battery malfunctions tied to errors in the high-voltage system, with some owners reporting it happening more than once. You buy an electric car for one job above all others, to go. When the high-voltage system is the thing throwing faults, that one job is exactly what's in question. The Blazer EV had so many of these problems that Consumer Reports lists it among the least reliable electric vehicles you can buy. And fixing high voltage and software gremlins on a car like this isn't cheap or quick. It's repeat trips to the dealer and repair bills that climb into the thousands. Now hold that platform in your mind. Ultium, because the number 1 car on this list runs on the exact same one, only it costs a whole lot more. Number 1, Cadillac Lyriq. Here it is, the luxury electric SUV from a company that's been building cars for more than a century. The Cadillac Lyriq is Cadillac's big move into electric, a $60,000 and up SUV meant to go head-to-head with the German brands, and it rides on that same Ultium platform as the Chevrolet you just saw. Same foundation, fancier badge, same trouble, and then some. Consumer Reports found the Lyriq's weak spots in exactly the places you'd least want them: the powertrain, the battery, the in-car electronics, the charging. even the build quality. But here's the part that puts it at number one. The Lyriq has been through 6 recalls in a span of just a few years, and 2 of them involved the electrical system. On some of these cars, the rear drive unit was built with wiring that wasn't insulated well enough. A short in that wiring can cause the car to lose power. Read that back slowly. A brand new $60,000 Cadillac that can cut its own power and coast to a stop because of how a wire was wrapped at the factory. That's the same root failure that hit the cheaper Chevrolet, which tells you the badge on the hood was never the problem. The platform underneath all of them was. And now the cost, because this is where it hits home for the people watching this. When a high-voltage battery or a drive unit fails on a luxury EV like this out of warranty, you are not looking at a few $1,000s. You're looking at a repair that runs well into 5 figures. On plenty of these cars, that bill will be more than the car is even worth by the time it comes due. So think about what that actually means for someone on a fixed income. You don't get to fix it. The math won't let you. The car becomes a paperweight in the driveway, and you're pushed straight into another payment you swore you were done making. That's the real warning underneath all 9 of these. Not that an electric car might annoy you, that the wrong one can turn into a loss you can't climb out of. You've been saying it for 50 years. Keep it simple, and it'll last longer. The simplest thing on wheels was never the one with the most computers on board. And now the most trusted name in this whole business has the data to back you up. If you want to see the other side of this coin, the vehicles I'd actually tell you to hold on to, I put together a video on the engines built to run past 300,000 miles without drama. It's up in the corner right now. Go watch that one, and I'll see you there.